Ascending the stairway of heaven. That was perfect, wasn't it? So I'm just gonna get settled. The dog is being pretty quiet, but I just came downstairs and sometimes gets noisy when I'm doing a podcast, so I'll probably give him something. And yes, our own sleep track work, and everyone wanted because they didn't get played, because why would they? Our own sleep tracks, our own meditation tracks, and what have you. It's a good thing I brought that one out because I don't know where other ones are. Okay. I will ask something though of people that see this after. Oh, actually, or the one that just tuned in as I'm starting here. Welcome. So if you're clicked in because of the title, this has nothing to do with it. No, just kidding. My first question: scared you, haven't I? There was a robin that commented on one of the videos not long ago, and it looks a bit like the same image. And it's funny because I feel like we were talking about rabbits recently, and not because of Easter. But I don't remember the Rami, but I do remember mentioning being familiar with one. So that's interesting. Oh, it's you. You changed your name. Welcome back. Well, okay. Well, this is interesting because I know that you said that you like when I stand and do podcasts, and that's actually that I could say is a misconception right there. And I understand you were just trying to be funny or whatever. Oh, but yeah, it's funny. I was going to ask, where does one prefer that I do the videos? And it's funny. Well, it was kind of early evening last time when you saw one. I know I just had a nap, was being very spontaneous, and wanted to get to the next thing in my routine. Now it's kind of like it's 10:25. I've been up for about an hour. And I don't know if that was the first one of mine that you'd seen. But I was going to ask people and for people that see after the fact, where they prefer that I do these. Honestly, end of the day, it's my own choice. I understand that. But sometimes when I do it upstairs, I take the one small mirror off the wall because I think it's distracting. And actually, the one time, the one mandala on the wall brought somebody in. They thought it was a decorated plate when it's just done on paper. But and I felt so bad because that one, the person seemed to be enjoying chatting, and then the laptop was not plugged in and went off. But I do want to address a couple things. Four things come right to mind. The first one being, and it almost feels like this is meant to be, so I'll say it, and I don't know how it will end. But in channeling, I mean, there's probably lots of signs and symbols that I miss. Like my own loved ones are with me more than I could ever pick up on. And I honestly kind of think maybe most mediums are that way, especially ones that are working a lot and hopefully legitimately, message retracted. They can get burnt out just like anybody else, any other type of, work or whatever. But really, and you don't know. That's right. Okay. I kind of remember a detail about you actually, and yeah. But I did say medium. So, medium coffee. No, just kidding. The spirit world, and that's why you said boo, I imagine, and that's something I want to quickly address my feelings about, and this is my opinion about reincarnation and about ghosts. Now, as far as ghosts, I feel that they are fictional in media, and also in for like Halloween or whatever. But that they might be a way that some souls, spirits, angels transition, or souls, that some souls transition before they become an angel. That I feel makes sense. Same with reincarnation. And I have an example of that from my own life, that I recently was reminded that my stepbrother doesn't even know. Uh, this was something that he lived in another country and province or whatever, and well, they're not fictional because but they aren't fully as the media describes. I was going to say they're not. It may not seem fictional because they're so mainstream. But basically, yeah. I When my dad passed away and I was young, I'm just going to adjust this couch cushion. Um, the I used to see a lot of hawks. It's weird because we lived in the country, and it's also kind of weird because that picture that I found shared channel, the other person had posted, and it was open or whatever, and it said that it was a crow, but it didn't. I mean, crows can be large. I felt it was a hawk. Anyway, I don't really see that. I do see it as symbolic. It was a time in my life, not long after my dad passed away. But I don't really. I feel like he's moved from that. But yeah, we lived out in the country. You'd think we see, you know, you would see something like that often. We didn't, and it started out as a few, and then for the next year or so, it was just one. And sometimes we'd be in the car driving, and it would be kind of flying along beside us. My grandmother, I believe, became, and I'm not really, this is not indigenous based necessarily, but or whatever. A blue jay. We had just brought her ashes somewhere, and um, she was getting sick and older, not been eating very well, and there was some stuff on a picnic table, like food that people had left or whatever. Not a lot, and she actually, the bird actually chased a squirrel off the table, and I would have thought it would be the other way around, if anything. But what I'm wondering is, are you connected to a soul that liked strong coffee? Because I am using a new can and a new tin, and it might be, but it's not the first. I've had a few cups from it over the past few days, and I don't always make a great coffee. It's true, but this morning, no matter how much sugar I seemed to put in it, it was very strong. I did think maybe I went a little over, like a little bit large on a couple of the scoops, but there seems to be something in that maybe. Somebody that like their coffee really strong. Because yeah, like I say, I don't usually make one quite like this, and yeah, I hope I'll be able to finish it with food later as we get a second viewer. I'm just gonna put said coffee into the but yeah, if you have it into the oh, hello. Well, that's very interesting. Okay, but it looks like Robin came back. It's like Rain came in and Robin left. Now, Rain, I remember you from before. Uh, Thanks for the like. And your comment was pretty much the same before. I don't know if the strong coffee connection is connected to you. I'm just going to go put it there. Um, yeah, I think, I don't know why, but I think it's my breathing because of I mean, if they're a troll, because it seems like possibly they left. If Robin, you're still here, I mean, it's a nice kind of troll. They put some positive emojis. They give a like, and then they go. I don't know. Anywho, but I think it's because I'm feeling a little short of breath. I don't know why. I mean, sometimes when you get old, and I know, remember you're not that old, from what I recall. But when you get old, things like the stairs, not always, but will. And oh wow, third like, awesome. In 9 minutes, perfect. Um, when you I don't know, just the way I'm sitting. So I'm gonna put this back. I want, and it looks like there's just one person here now, but that's I don't out of curiosity, and I don't want to like, make my what do you call it, goods look less good or whatever, so to speak. But like, do the likes indicate, like, if you click like more than once, does it count as another like? I know it wouldn't. It would undo it, I would imagine. So somebody liked it but didn't stay. So I believe it's Robin that we still have here enjoying the conversation. I really appreciate it. And you're the only one here. Um, so think on that coffee thing. If nobody's coming to mind, I want you to look at the picture of this podcast, if you can see it at the moment, or if you remember it when you clicked in, or afterwards, if that's all you'd be able to do. It was an old saved photo in the. It's a picture of a woman. That's right. Yeah, I don't know if thumbnails. No, just kidding. Uh, images for your video make that much difference or not? I'd have to look back because I've only done it like 2 or 3 times. But I don't know, for some reason I found, and then it went to 0, so I'll just wait. Oh. I noticed how noisy these slippers were on camera the other day when I was trying to do something meditative. Okay, well, I don't know what happened there, but somebody who seemed to be enjoying. Oh, okay. So it showed the picture and then it showed the image, which is the other owner of the. Okay, that's interesting. Your comment just came through, but it doesn't actually say you're viewing. Talk about spooky. So I'm just gonna let myself get a little bit more comfortable here where I'm sitting. And hopefully you'll still be able to hear me okay. And okay, so the picture, yeah, I don't know if I should or really even need to say what the title or caption of it was. It's nothing, it's nothing. Yeah, my muscles. I got to make sure that I'm not. This is an old couch and it's a little bit sunken on this side, but it's very. I still, even with Pep's help, I still didn't clear that up very well, and the dog will want to go back there. Anywho, so it had a title, which first I feel, and it must have been the other user of this device. I feel is not true because she's in the picture, but also it felt like it fit with this video, and this is the really weird part. I personally do not know who it is, and the other owner of the device, who must have taken it. I mean, sure, maybe sometimes, we get random or whatever, but I don't recognize them as someone that they know, but maybe. But I also thought maybe one of our viewers might recognize the person. Now, I wanted to talk about, I was just watching a video and I'm going to use it to inspire some of this. I was just talking, or just heard about, and it actually is what inspired this. The idea of, for instance, when a medium, and I never have, but I mean, most of them have been my own loved ones and some of them have passed away for a while. I don't know, but I don't know if I ever would. Again, one thing to remember about mediums is that they are human. They will make mistakes. And, it's not necessarily, even with the gift, necessarily always an easy thing. And, I heard one medium say, though, it's true, that even if the spirit is shy, if somebody has especially come a long way for a session, or if somebody's in a session, they most likely will not just say, "Hi, how are you? I'm here," but like they will want to make it worth it for the person. But but then again, the medium is also human. Now, some of them are scammers, and that's unfortunate. It's true, but so they can just be having an off day, dealing with their own stresses, low energy, whatever it is. So it's a pic that you found in an old device that you brought from Clutch. I almost understand that slang, but no, well, it's in this device, but it's an old picture. I know. Um, Hopefully the dog will be quiet because he just finished the stick. But I wanted to mention something about the concept of lost souls, because my feeling is, shh, Sonny, you're gonna have to go upstairs. Yeah, maybe. Just a moment. Just a moment, please. But my feeling is that once they get to heaven, they aren't such. Sonny. do I close the door? What if we get stuck in there? Lost souls stuck. I guess that could actually be a similar thing. Some people just have theories about the afterlife, but as a Christian, okay. So 1 minute here. I'm still trying to understand clicks, but I think it's not. I think you're trying to say clickbait, which yes and no. That's what I was trying for. I mean, I don't necessarily agree with clickbait, but it was not necessarily in. And I don't know. To me, I think she kind of has a fairly standard look. So I don't know if people recognize it or not, but it almost, if I recall, almost looked like she was wearing some sort of costume hat. Some people just have to. So you're a Christian, and if I remember correctly, aren't you from India or Germany? And I'm very thankful of your open-mindedness and your respect because they can all coexist. Egypt, right? How's your mommy? Just kidding. Sorry, but I was actually just talking about in a recent video. It was actually in this one. Actually, I would recommend you check out because I think it'll resonate, and I'd be curious. It is. The other day I found myself doing House King Tut. No, sorry. Actually, I knew a guy who on my old page, my old profile, who was African Egyptian, and I miss him kind of. I mean, I don't remember a lot of details. It was a long time ago, but anyway, I was doing a bunch of meditations. My first one, I think, was my best one, and I actually got some really nice feedback. And it's somebody that, and they sent it to me on Facebook, but then also we were able to actually connect outside on YouTube, outside of YouTube actually too, and actually had been. And so basically, I would say that was my best one. It was minification, and it did get very personal to an experience that or something that I've been going through. And I probably should watch it more, but I've kind of been avoiding it because it's a topic but anyway. And then I did another one that was based on school, different grades going up, and and kind of like, they could play it in a class, or you could play it, as a student. And I kind of like how it turned out, so feel free to let me know how that goes. But we did a project in grade 4, which is mentioned in there, on Egypt, and built a big tomb and everything. Anyway, so okay. So do you feel like there's a lot of Christians in Egypt? You'll be with Jesus, and you'll be with other loved ones for sure. Nice background noise to this would be findher.org by Toby Fox. The thumbnail is a picture drawing of a guitar. Funny, I did a Toby Keith song recently, and it's kind of a unique name. And there was a Toby that was, I don't know what her role was in the school. I just always remember her standing by the school buses and helping people find their bus. I thought of the full name not that long ago, actually. Is that a song? I could possibly get some relaxation music playing, if you'd like. And actually, even though I was trying to avoid connecting the speaker and playing it out of the phone, no, that's right, I used YouTube, and it made it demonetized. It sounds weird, not the kind of stuff I ascertain. But monetization. But I haven't watched it back yet, so I don't know if it actually. I thought it was just standard relaxation music that was not. And it's weird that there's been 2, and I'd have to look again, but for sure that one, I'm very surprised that it seems to have a background, or it said something about Latin in the copyright claim. So I have to be careful doing that. But thanks for the suggestion. How about we do that too? Oh, okay, I see what you're saying. I've heard about Discord, but I've never used it. I don't really know all that much about it. I'm trying to remember. There's a guy that actually, yeah. And it's not that I'm trying to. It's just, when you make a nice connection on here, you kind of want to do that. And, one thing I can say is as you go through life, you have chapters that are a bit more lonely than others. And that just could be because things slow down in your life. And I can relate to that. And so, it's kind of like, um, and I guess I'm kind of in that chapter of my life in some ways, and I might be coming out of it somewhat, but I'm still very much in it. And so I guess, yeah, maybe it is somewhat intentional. Honestly, I don't talk with him all that often. And then the other one I do, and I don't want to get into too much details, but I'm actually going to be on her podcast tomorrow. And something that I've been thinking for a few days was happening today is actually happening on the same day. So I don't know if I'm going to end up doing both and just being really tired and possibly overwhelmed, or if I'll do one instead of the other. And then I'd like to talk about FOMO and anxiety. um, I might bring this a little closer. I mean, my eyes can mostly see your comments, but from that distance, it's like a bit of a strain. Um, I can do what? Oh, okay. I think I know what you're saying, but so what time is it in Egypt? Well, but we want it monetized, right? And I'm still learning about that. Is this someone you know? This Toby person? Okay, and it's 10:45 a.m. here, so in Canada. And I'm remembering you as being fairly young, so I'm thinking that you probably don't have never been to Canada, but maybe have. Anywho, um, yes, I love how everything is just coexisting in love and unity here. So, but never heard of it. Maybe it's big in Egypt. I don't know. Although his name doesn't necessarily sound Egyptian, but neither does yours, really. I don't think. Again, I've known a couple Rammies, but I think one has an E in it. The other guy was white, I believe. I don't know what his background was. Nobody. Okay. Anywho, so Lost Souls. Yeah, I was saying it, but I was in the other room. Basically, they once they get to heaven, they wouldn't be. Now, to talk about uh, transitions and how quickly one can. I'd like to know a little bit more about it, but oh, there's various main ideas. I don't even know what some of them are yet. But yeah, I'd like to know more about it before I look it up, I think. But what the point I'm trying to get out at the moment is that, it's interesting. I've been doing this since 25. I'm 38 now, but there has been what's the phrasing I use? Dry patches, so to speak, for lack of a different way of putting it, and or at least that's how it's felt. And so there's different reasons. There's different reasons why someone may seem like a lost soul to a medium, to their own loved ones in general once they pass away. And I would say that they are maybe a bit of shyness, uh, but not necessarily. I also want to make the point that I relate, and many surely do, to at times being a lost soul on earth. Like I say, I don't feel like that's something that goes with us when we pass away. Um, but basically, I think that there are different reasons, and I'm learning that over time. And I'd be curious to see. I'm going to send this to the person whose podcast I'm going to be in tomorrow, but I'd be curious to see if this might come up in some way. Um, for instance, my dad, passed away when I was around 12, close a couple months before my birthday, and I do need to take a sip of water. And I guess, like I say, the hawk thing, like we were still living on that property that we lived on when he passed away. When we saw that, um, and unfortunately, I can't think of, as we get a second view of welcome, I can't think of any particular. So, if strong coffee or the image says anything to you, feel free to comment that. Um, I can't think of any other particular ways that I felt him until about the age of 25. something very interesting actually transpired recently. This one person that I keep mentioning, um, we'd done just a call, just not a video, just a call with each other. And I guess because she was thinking about how we will be doing the video, she asked me how it started. And so I shared that my dad was the first one I'd felt. And basically, and shared what was said, and also mentioned how it's always somewhere back there in my mind, but I don't carry it with me. And it's the kind of thing. It was given in the context of employment, but also kind of in life. And employment has been something that's been really hard for me to access lately. And I'm going to a thing on the 8th. I don't know if it's going to make it easier or not, but at least I'm going to try and find the place. Uh, but um, but I did an improvised theater thing on this channel recently, and some of what my dad had visited with me had came up, and I put it into the thing. I had a sheet around me that I was made tried to make look like wings, and it was pretty powerful. I also did something interesting. Also interesting as one of the viewers goes, where I seemed to have fallen into a portal. I was in a doorway, and I just kind of went like this in the lighting, and it wasn't special effects. It looked like I was falling through, I guess, a doorway or a portal, like I say. Um, but so he didn't come to me in all those years as with messages and as strongly, and of course I wondered why, right? And what I seem to have found out was that I was doing pretty okay. He was always there, but I was doing pretty okay in my life. I didn't really need him to come through super strongly. And like I say, also I wasn't doing this stuff then. So there was probably some stuff I didn't pick up on. Um, I don't feel him a ton. There's been a couple times recently. But one thing, and I feel like it's come from him, and he's almost my first and foremost, but sometimes I kind of actually am not thinking that for no particular reason. And one thing that's came through is he says, as long as I'm channeling somebody and some loved one, and getting something from that, he's happy. And sometimes I'll actually notice a flash visual of him being there, but kind of taking the back seat. Um, But I think another reason is because um, they they are afraid to pass away. And that's something that I know that there's some people that are looking forward to it because they have a hard life or whatever, and they miss lots of loved ones, and that's the hardest thing is missing loved ones, and even with this, I still grieve. I'm still human, but and um and I haven't been up super long, so my brain is being a bit slow at the moment. I think I will try putting this back here. I should be able to see your comments just fine. And yeah, I can. This way it's a little less moving about. I appreciate your patience, and I so appreciate you being here. Right now, you're the only one here, but this is great. You seem to be able to keep up with listening and writing your thoughts too. So I don't know if you're working on a comment, but I'm enjoying them. Um, but people that are afraid to die, people that are or uncertain or resistant slightly. But in saying that, it's kind of interesting because I'm being reminded of some recent memories, and I'm also feeling like my friend Ray wants to come through. And I sometimes feel like maybe some of her loved ones, especially ones that are a bit familiar with me, might be watching this, watching these silently, you know, healing, processing, and eventually they'll let me know. But and the viewer left or whatever. But let me just wait to see if he comes back because that has happened once or twice before. It's like accidental or whatever. Gives me a bit more moment to breather. taking a while. And I'm not saying anything because nobody's here right now. That was very abrupt, but you never know. Maybe a family member came in and distracted them or whatever. I'm guessing that must have been watching with headphones on. If you live with somebody, I'm thinking you probably do, because if you're Christian, you wouldn't want them listening to you listening to this. But you know what? I'm not. I'm not. I'm agnostic. I would say. Um, I do believe in a creator. I do believe, you know, in a God. And I've had angels, some being religious, some aren't, that I have known. Told me that they've seen him when they got up there. I don't, and I can usually tell when it's my own thinking or them. And I could have said it, but I felt like it didn't come from me. I can't remember. This was a while ago. Who I felt it may have came from. More than one person, actually. But I don't believe he's almighty, and you can see that by the ways that the world is messed up, the way that all the troubles in the world, and the struggles that like extreme, and also the struggles that a lot of people have. If he was truly able to be with us all the time, making our lives perfect, everybody would have perfect lives. You know. That being said, again, what is I don't need to check the live chat. It's obviously on. What is perfect? It doesn't really exist, right? But near perfect, and like mine isn't terrible, but there are definitely some things when I think about the struggles. I feel I could let myself feel very sad about them. I try not to, but I don't know if I should wait, hoping that he comes back. He seemed to be okay with a little bit of side chat, but then you say like, anyway, let's get to the main idea, and maybe it didn't seem like I was doing so, but I was. Again, the leaving and the possibly not coming back isn't personal, and I shouldn't wait forever. But I did say a lot in that 20-25 minutes, so I think I'll wait till it indicates somebody. Watch now. Nope. Should try and center this sometimes. I know it looks a little bit weird, but I guess I don't need it. But I feel like if I don't use it, my neck will be very sore afterwards, and I'll have to take a Tylenol. And if you don't, well, I might anyway. My chest is a bit sore, but if you don't need one, you don't need one, and that's not a bad thing. That people think it makes me look like I'm disabled. I have maybe I have a neck injury. Not that he was judging it or anybody else was, but and I do. I have a stiff neck right now. It's a real pain in the neck. No kidding. But I am somewhat disabled. I don't like to say completely because I can do some things and I can do a lot more than my life is letting me. But I'm trying. I'm trying. So for anybody that sees this afterwards, any pauses that I make in this are going to be brief, and you can always skip ahead. And if you don't quite get a full thought, you can try again, or I can try a timestamp, or maybe you weren't meant to. Let's go with the flow. But I do need to take a few minutes here. I haven't quite given it to myself. For me, 3 likes, especially in such a quick span, is pretty good. But I don't know what's with rainwater. Again, it almost seems kind of trolly, that their behavior. But and I'm sorry if you come back and hear me saying that. Like, I don't mean to be rude, but it's kind of been the same thing both times, but positive. So maybe there's such a good. The thing is good trolls. he didn't need to be on today. I don't know why I was on. Take a stretching break. I don't really like how my arms look on the video. They look really long. Not that they aren't, but they look really long, and my stretching is. I don't know. I need to work on figuring that out. Oh, well, I'll tell you. That being said, it does feel a little bit weird to just sit here doing nothing. And I don't even have sleep music playing. I don't know. That's if you're going to get into a meditative or channeling state. I'll timestamp it for her. I know sometimes I type something. Actually, maybe this instead of this. Maybe it's also and also. I don't know. At least I did tell people they could skip ahead. See if I'm back at it. I feel like it invigorates me. It motivates me. It's what I appreciate. Uh, uh, Even if it's just one or two people, not that I'm saying that can't be more, but engaging or whatever. So yeah, like my one friend, um, it became someone's here briefly and left, but I don't know what that's about. But anyway, it came in. I'm just realizing I have to take it slow, but I don't want to take it too slow. Like I could easily fall back asleep. Came into my awareness, and I hopped. It was really wild how it happened. I think I was feeling a bit of shock and like it was surreal, a bit pushed to do it, and I look back at it now and realize it may have been part of my healing journey too. But a fairly good friend had passed away. A week afterwards, I found out. I wasn't sleeping or trying to, but it was getting late in the evening, and I looked up like, oh my god, no. And music was very much a part of her life and her career. And she was always a cheerleader for me doing music, not just me, but and I found that she um, got me on here and got me doing music. Unfortunately, well, fortunately and not. I mean, I suppose it means that what I meant to do, it's a good time marker for dancing. So I started pretty much when he did, is do it on my own instruments because I can. And then it's a cover. It's not a copyrighted track, but I still see people doing karaoke videos, and I don't know. Maybe it's on a different platform. It's different. I don't know. Or maybe not everything gets caught, or years later, or whatever. But you hear like actual tracks, and I don't know. They're already big name. A lot of them are already very famous, and they want to be. So I mean, I don't always necessarily understand the copyright idea, but any relaxation music I play going forth will be our own creation. Um, and I know that she had some health problems, and those were hard to live with, and but she otherwise had a pretty good life. But what's a long time there compared to us? For us, like maybe it did take her 4 or 5 days to you know go from ground to sky, so to speak. You know, um, she also knew that she was pretty important to me, even if we had kind of fallen out of contact. So I just want to quickly go back, although I'm unsure if I can do this in the video. But I was going to put the captioning on and watch more of it and share my thoughts, since it, just a few minutes in, they sparked one. It's what's the title? Good and Bad Practices in Mediumship. With a teaching medium. And I was just looking at the caption, and I had the volume off, so it would be okay in here. And I is it good? Good. I feel like it's good. I I have the captions on, and I think it's miscaptioning something, but I'm not entirely sure. So I want to know, and then I want to watch that. I don't know. So that thing is not today. If he thinks it is, then he will not try to go to it tomorrow, unless he finds otherwise. But I don't know. I have so mixed feelings, and the double booking. But I really want to do it, and then she's going to be very busy for a while, extra busy, and yeah, I'm looking forward to this. That's not the kind of thing that I do super often, and I somewhat suggested it, but and she was very open to doing it. So yeah, I it might be an example where I somewhat wish I could be two people, and one of me would be a little more invisible than the other, and could go to the thing, and the other of me will stay here and do my podcast and whatever else I get into. But and that's what Robin Memory was saying. Don't worry, you can do it. But I maybe need to give a bit more details. Maybe I can. That's so interesting, actually, that this device is given the notification of the video. This isn't that much like her. I don't know who she looks like. Of course, Egypt is a pretty big place. And I have a feeling that's a pretty common name. I think that one was the one that been on here. I can't tell if that one does though or not. I just wanted to put a face to the name, and if anybody sees this part and wonders, do I do this often? I don't. But he kind of expressed interest. So I mean, but I don't use Discord. So So yeah, I'm not sure if there's really anything else to do with this video. Maybe I should have had that relaxation music playing, and it kind of would have, put somebody to sleep, or at least, yeah. Well, maybe this will also do well afterwards, and it'll get a few more likes, and that's nice. And maybe comments. part of me that wants to keep rolling. There's another part of me that wants to keep it short and doesn't know what else to say. There's a part of me that would love to channel for Remy, for Robin, Robin. But would have been really ironic talking about the birds thing if I had a connection to Robin Bird, but I don't. That being said, I don't do it often, but the other day I put nutmeg in my coffee. I can't remember why I did it. That was before I think the jar broke. Maybe not though. Or the lid broke off and I keep spilling it even when I put it up. Well, I think I'm gonna wrap up, watch a couple more videos. I know he's gonna want to go outside shortly, and I'm gonna try and find something best to watch for the lunch that I don't know what it'll be. Because I don't know if it should be this or not. Um, and then yeah, might go for a bike ride in a bit. Not sure. And other than that, no, watching right now. Other than that, I do have an idea though, and it'll show them that I'm live.